Inferno Canto 1 by Dante Alighieri. The first book of 3, including Purgatorio and Paradiso. But Inferno is the best one. The higher Dante goes, the less interesting it is, because everybody's just sort of sitting around on clouds in the Empyrean realm. And it's really interesting how stories of suffering and really fucked up stuff are far more interesting than happy stories. I think there's a life lesson in that, why we're here on this earth and why when bad things happen, it's not that something went wrong, that's kind of the nature of life and why you're here, to face whatever that is in order to grow and become unified with God. That's why I believe in reincarnation, because life lessons we're not learned are repeated. And I do believe this can stretch across multiple lifetimes, with a life being physical birth and physical death. But we go through the cycle of reincarnation within this life too. Even if it's not a physical death, we experience the death of old ways of being, we experience loss, and we get a chance to reinvent ourselves when that happens. And if we approach it in the right way, that death actually turns into a good thing. Whereas if you try to hold on, and you don't cooperate with the process, and you just create more suffering, and you just are going to have to relearn the lesson in your next incarnation, in this life or the next. So Inferno Canto 1, my favorite opening line of any book. And I thought about it because I just walked into the woods on what we call the scary side of the creek. Midway on this journey of our life, I found myself in a forest dark, for the true path I had lost. Ah me, how hard a thing it is to say what was this forest, savage, rough, and stern, but of the good that I there found I will now tell. And it reminds me, in 2010, I was talking to somebody how I just couldn't bear being lost in the woods anymore. And I think I'm on the verge of getting out of the woods, as the saying goes. And she said, you'll always be on the edge. It's not that simple. Which was tough to hear, and it sounds like a messed up thing to tell somebody, but I took it as an expression of truth, and the idea that I was almost out of the woods. She had the wisdom to see just intuitively that I was going to struggle for a long time yet, and so that kind of helped me just accept that fact as new traumas and loss and isolation continued. Another piece of advice that was really impactful for me, and it was real truth but said in a compassionate way, was when I really first started struggling as an adult and I was kind of headed downhill. And he was a really good guy, Christian, and I had a really hard time expressing, how I was feeling and what I was going through with people, because, some people just didn't really have anything to say, got uncomfortable, so I learned to not talk about my struggles, even though I had just realized, man, I need to start reaching out. Reaching out usually made things worse. And then the other thing is, people would give me words of hope, like, hey, it'll get better. And I mean, I appreciated the sympathy, but you don't know that. It's been bad for a long time, and what if it doesn't? So I can't, so I realized I couldn't cling to that. And anyway, my friend, I said, man, I just can't imagine anything good coming out of this. It just feels hopeless. And he said something along the lines of, yeah, things very well might just continue to get worse, and there's no way of knowing what that's going to lead to. But whatever you have in your mind of what that's going to look like, it's going to look like something else. And whatever good may come of it is better than the good that you probably have in mind. And so that was really impactful, because he was acknowledging the truth that he wasn't in a place to be able to say, hey, things are going to get better. And yeah, so anyway, those are some of my thoughts. I came down here with my guitar and art stuff because I'm going to try to do my activities out amongst the land of the naiads and dryads and fairy folk. I'm going to get romantical. That's the word I'll use, romantical. Kind of a combination of romantic and magical, right? September 1st, perfect weather, still summer. I've had so much happen this summer, so much progress, so many changes and growth. But I realized I haven't been getting in enough nature at this point. In years past, I spent tons of time outside, mucking around in the pond, catching critters, wading in the streams. Brought an armchair and a table out to the woods where I'm going right now. And so, same thing with running. I kind of neglected that. But I don't feel bad, because I simply prioritize other stuff, and now it's time to get some balance. And I am reinventing myself right now. The habits and activities I pursue at this point in my life, I think have a real good chance of really becoming ingrained. And that is very hopeful. And I'm going to stop here before I get to my get to my outdoor office, because it's brambles everywhere, hard to get to. I don't even know where it is, but anyway, cool rock wall. It's probably hundreds of years old. So that's right. Getting creative here, right? It's really interesting. I feel extremely clear-headed and peaceful, and I have gotten so much done today, but this is not mania. Maybe a little manic, but I'm going places, baby. All right, let's come up with something new. How about that? How about some lyrics from Elliot's Wasteland? How about this? How about I save this for another video? Kind of make my videos a little bit shorter. I think yeah, just to summarize, life has been a very intense journey for me. And December of 2021 was the end of a story that had been going on for a very long time. Actually, 7 years, precisely. I know precisely when it started and when it ended. And I knew that this year would be a time of rebirth. The phrases that I resonate with is rock bottom is a firm place to stand. My brother likes saying that. It's a good one. It doesn't always feel that way, but, and maybe it isn't always that way, but it's still a good approach to have. It's empowering. It's called flipping the script. Is when you take something that you think is just inherently negative and you sort of turn it around into something positive. My uncle liked that one. Kind of got it from him. Anyway, about a week ago, I had this year really, the New Year's Day, I was like, yeah, something's changed. I started seeing things happen, things that just weren't coincidental. And a lot of premonitions of good things to come, but it's still been rocky. And so even though the journey ended with last year, I feel like right now is when it's getting started. And I have said that so many times that I'm very skeptical of myself. And I think that, and so I just gave up. And if I get manic, I'm like, oh, it's not going to last. But I'm seeing physical, tangible, objective changes that are consistent over time that other people have given me feedback on to let me know it really is something real. So that's all I got to say.